Tara. I'm the Community Engagement Specialist at the Sacramento SPCA, which essentially means I manage all of the community outreach programs for the shelter. And that does include just connecting community members to the services at the shelter that would be most helpful for them and their furry friends and family. Today, I will primarily be talking about our Love on Loan program, which is our pet therapy program, but I will start off with just some general information about other services at the shelter, just to get you guys connected with multiple points across our programming. So let's see. Pull up some slides here. Okay, perfect. So just a rundown of what I'll be talking about, starting off with our vaccine clinic, just again, general overview, general information, going into adoptions, as well as our informational tables, which would basically be what I'm presenting information-wise to you today, but in person in a smaller setting, and then finally going into our Love on Loan program. So if we want to keep going, so we do offer a vaccine clinic. It can be a free vaccine clinic for our folks who are 65 years and older. For everybody else in the general public, it is an affordable vaccine clinic. In general, our vaccines range from $20 to $30, which is much more affordable than, say, going to your vet. So we really like offering these services so that our community members and their furry friends are happy and healthy, and just making sure that everybody has accessibility to what can help make their pets the happiest and the healthiest. We do require that if you are going to go to a free vaccine clinic as somebody over the age of 65, that your animals be spayed or neutered. You do have to present a government-issued ID at the time of your appointment. And there is a 4-pet maximum per household. Again, this is only if you qualify for those free vaccines. Otherwise, you can bring multiple pets if you are a paying customer. If you do want a vaccine appointment, you can go to our website, sspca.org/clinics. You'll sign up for essentially a wait list, and then we'll send you an email where you can pick your appointment time and date. Moving forward, what we're most known for, and it is not to say that this is our only program, but it is adoptions. So some of our pet therapy dogs who are actually here with us today were adopted from the Sacramento SPCA. This is probably everybody's favorite program because you do get to meet all the furry animals here at the shelter, as well as obviously make lifelong friends and lifelong relationships. So I do have listed all of our adoption fees currently. I'm not going to read them off. You can always refer to the slides. We are open for walk-in adoptions, so appointments are not necessary at this point. You just walk in, let the front desk know that you're interested in meeting dogs, cats, or small animals. We'll let you walk through, meet everybody you want through the kennel, and then if you do find that very special furry friend that you would like to meet in person, our adoption staff will put you into a meeting room and kind of explain to you the specific details about that animal and make sure that you and that animal are a great fit moving forward. If for any reason we feel like maybe that's not the perfect animal for you, we will guide you through all the other animals that we do have to make sure that you make that good fit for a lifelong connection. And then lastly, aside from Love on Loan, one of the primary things that I do is go out into the community and do information tables. So this is our way to connect in person with you, whether that's a school, an organization, or kind of what I'm doing right now, and be able to talk everybody through our programs and get them connected exactly in the way that they need. So if you are interested in having the SPCA at your event, you can go ahead and shoot me an email or call the number on the slides, and we'll be able to get you scheduled to make sure that we are out there in the community and just helping everybody live their best pet-forward life. And now the moment we've all been waiting for, our Love on Loan program, which is the reason why we're here. So Love on Loan has been a program that the shelter has been offering, I believe, for the last about 20, 30 years. I think officially it was started somewhere in the 80s. If anybody wants to correct me, please feel free. So what we do is we take our wonderful animals. All of these are owned animals that have gone through an evaluation process here at the shelter. And we go to places like children's homes, senior homes, as well as schools, children's events, other stuff like that. And the goal really is to make sure that people who might not otherwise be accessible to a connection with an animal can form that bond with an animal, even if it's for an hour visit. A lot of the times we do have recurring visits so that we can build that relationship even further beyond just that initial meeting. Just meeting and petting dogs, cats. We also have like a small hamster in here. At some point we had a pony. But the point is that interacting with an animal does decrease stress. It's been scientifically proven, and in general, it's just a really great thing to do. And so we like to be able to spread that joy and that happiness and the relationship that some groups may otherwise not be able to have by doing these visits and being able to show them like how great an animal companions are. Oh, look at Lexi. Okay, I will not be distracted by the cuteness in front of me. Anyways, so I'm actually going to go through what our evaluation process looks like. It's my understanding that we may have a lot of pet owners here at the department. So if this is something that you're interested in, you'll learn a lot more about how to join our program. But we're actually, oh, wait, I forgot about this slide. So this is actually a lot of the places that we do visit currently, whether that's recurring or annually. We also visit other organizations as well, but this is just a small sample so that you can see just who we work with consistently in the community. And then this little sidebar is what we're going to be going through, which is how you would become a Love on Loan or a pet therapy volunteer with the Sacramento SPCA. So we're going to start off with some volunteer stories. So two of our volunteers have agreed to share their stories with you in just hopes to better connect you and really get that human element into what this program is about, as well as how it's influenced their lives, as well as their furry friends. So we're going to start off with one of my favorite duos, Nancy and Lexi.
Hi, my name is Nancy. This is Lexi. And we've only been doing Love on Loan for a couple of years, but I adopted her from Sacramento SPCA almost 3 years ago. And early on, when I'd take her to a pet store, I could see that she loved greeting people. She loves attention. If somebody doesn't want to pay attention to her, she'll leave them alone. But that's what made me check into the Love on Loan program, because I thought she'd be perfect for this. And she usually is. But I found out the hard way, she doesn't like to go to nursing homes. So we tried that. She was very uncomfortable for some reason. But when we go to events where there's people that want to pet her or kids, she loves kids. She really enjoys it. So for me, being retired, it's a good way to get out and do things and talk to people. But I've volunteered with SPCA for about 12 years. And before that, I raised service dog puppies for canine companions. 2 of them didn't graduate. Not at the same time, but over the years, 2 of them didn't graduate. So I adopted them. One was a yellow lab, one was a golden retriever. And they'd had a year and a half of intensive training. They were really well behaved. Their temperament wasn't suited to helping somebody in a wheelchair or somebody with a disability. So I got involved with Pet Partners. It was called Delta Society at the time. And it was a much more intensive evaluation period. But I took those dogs to hospitals, and we visited Sutter Hospitals, Shriners Hospital. The dogs loved it. I enjoyed it. So it gave me a feel for taking my dog out into the community and letting people interact with them. So it's been really rewarding. It's something, she gets so excited when I put her stuff on, so she knows she's going somewhere like this. So it's a really great program. And if you have time an hour later and a dog that would enjoy this, I think it's a great way to volunteer.
Thank you. Oh, I probably shouldn't speak into two mics at once. Okay. There we go. And then we're going to keep the stories going with another dynamic duo, which is Jackie and Abby. I've been told to get your tissues ready, so.
It's literally been 12 years ago this month that we rescued Abby. She was being relinquished by a family who were losing their home. It was not their desire to have to give her up. It was very painful for them. We were grateful, and I had had a schnauzer once before, had been looking for one who was young, but not a puppy. So she just fit the bill perfectly. And I can assure you that being a therapy dog was absolutely the farthest thing from my mind. But within a couple of weeks, we actually had a large boat at the time, and we had already signed up to participate in an annual event in San Francisco Bay called the Wheelchair Regatta. And boats in the area come, and the disabled veterans are brought down from Yountville and other veterans' homes, and the firemen are present to lift them onto the boats. We ended up with 13 veterans on our boat, some in wheelchairs. I had crated Abby. It was her first time on the boat with us. And after everybody was settled, I let her out and started serving refreshments. And a friend of mine who also had schnauzers and worked in the disabled community had joined us that day. And after a short time, she came to me and she said, "You need to use her as a therapy dog." And I just kind of looked at her like I wasn't even sure what that meant. And she described to me what had happened. Abby had gone from person to person. She was off leash and had greeted each one, allowed them to pet her as long as they desired. If they wanted to have her in their lap, she was accommodating that. And once I kind of watched some of what was going on, I thought, wow, you're right. I mean, she's incredibly tuned in to people and people who need her. So it didn't take me too long to research the best therapy dog programs in the area. It's certainly the SPCA. They're all about the temperament of the dog, not necessarily training. I would say probably the most rewarding place that Abby has been over the last 12 years has been in nursing homes. The story that comes to mind first is a lady who was in a wheelchair. She wanted to hold Abby in her lap. And so I lifted Abby up. She was happy and comfortable to be there. And this woman put her arms around Abby and sobbed and sobbed and sobbed. And I just waited patiently, as did Abby. She wasn't frightened. She was absolutely there for that person. And I could only imagine what she might have been remembering. So the last 12 years have been a blessing to us. She's kind of aging out with the nursing homes because since COVID, so many more of the residents are in bed, and she didn't really like to be lifted at this point. And so, but we go to the children's home and children's receiving homes. And one of the most popular events has been the Sac State de-stressor at exam time. And she's been a favorite there. We usually have 10, 12, 15 dogs that come to that event. And the kids, plus some of the professors, are just so grateful to sit there and just hug the dogs. And I was so moved after watching her one day. I mean, I can't count the number of selfies she was in that day with the kids. But I reflected when I went home about what is it that is so endearing about a dog. And it's because they love unconditionally and they're non-judgmental. So I can't recommend this program too heartily. It's been a blessing in our lives. People often thank me, and I said, you know, I'm just the chauffeur. She's the one with the gift.
Thank you. That was beautiful. Good job. Okay. Get some pets. Okay, so with that, I am going to go through kind of the steps of how you would become a volunteer. So starting off, we do require all of our Love Alone volunteers to go through our volunteer orientation. This is primarily because you are a representative of the Sacramento SPCA wherever you go with your therapy dog. And so we want to make sure that our volunteers are well-versed in kind of our philosophy, what we believe, and are just able to answer some general questions that you might receive out in the community. Our orientations are once a month. Currently, our October orientation is completely full. They do fill up very quickly, but we are going to soon start accepting signups for our November volunteer orientation. So after you go through that, you can schedule a, wow, I'm forgetting all my words today. You can schedule an assessment for yourself and your dog. So if you can go to the second slide or second. There you go. So you'll schedule and complete our behavior assessment. Now the assessment itself is pretty relaxed. It takes less than 30 minutes to do. And as we just heard, we do primarily look at the dog's demeanor rather than training. That being said, we did add recently a new segment, which is mostly about how you interact with your dog, because we do need to make sure that all of our handlers are very present with their dog and can also react to how they're feeling as well. So basically we look at three things. Number one is, how does your dog react to different people? And I'm also going to include here other animals and other dogs. For the most part, in most of our events, we do have multiple dogs, obviously multiple people who are going to be approaching your dog. And so we want to make sure that your dog is pretty much bulletproof with anything that might happen at the time. We want to make sure that everybody stays safe and that all of our dogs are happy and enjoying where they are at the moment. So what that looks like, if I could read the screen, because I forgot every word on here. Okay, so we're going to see how your dog approaches both other people as well as other dogs. So are they comfortable going up to strangers? If I were to walk up to you and shake your hand, are they going to be defensive and guarding you? Or are they generally going to be okay with you interacting with other people as well? When they approach another dog, what does that look like? Are they going to be really wiggly and really playful, which is totally okay? Are they going to be kind of aloof and not really care? Also okay. Or are they going to be a little growly and timid and stiff? We may have to talk about that at that point. So it's just seeing how comfortable they are with other dogs. This does include a dog meet on campus. So your dog would meet both a small and a large dog just to make sure that we're covering all of our bases. And then we also look at handling. So this is kind of where we'll test how you handle your dog as well as how your dog reacts to being pet. So usually I'll ask one of my coworkers to pretend to be a little kid and just really go for it and start petting your dog like any excited kid would, just to see how they react, make sure they're comfortable. I also go through and just see if there's any sensitive areas. I'll touch their paws, I'll touch their faces, see if at any point they just become uncomfy or not. Usually we're okay. And then we also see how well they do in crowds. So this is a mixed bag on whether or not there is a crowd at the shelter at the time, but we try and walk through like groups of people just to make sure that your dog is comfortable with that. And then how do you and your pet interact? So this does include a little bit of basic leash training. We'll take a walk around the shelter just to make sure that they aren't overly pulling, that they are responsive when you try to call their name. But again, it's just very basic just to make sure that everything's okay there. If you say that they know any commands like sit, stay, lay down, we will ask you to do that. I think there's only one point where I'll ask you to put your dog on like a 15-foot leash, have them sit at the end of the leash, you walk back, and then you just call them. That's just to make sure that they do have some sort of recall and that they do know their name. I currently have a puppy who does not know her name, so she would not pass this. So if you do have a puppy who's still learning, maybe not right now, just hold off a couple months and then we'll get there. And then also just making sure that you understand and recognize your own dog's boundaries. I know that people can be super excited to join a pet therapy program. They want to go to every single kind of event. But the truth of the matter is not every dog necessarily likes going to senior homes or really likes a bunch of kids jumping around. That's okay. I just need to make sure that you understand where your dog performs best and that we can make sure that those are the events you're going to and that you also understand what happens when your dog is just a little too antsy and to get them out of those situations as well. At the end of the day, therapy dogs are amazing. They are also animals, so we do have to be able to read their body language and be responsive to how they're feeling at the time. And then lastly, how does your pet do in different environments? So we do go to a variety of different places, whether that's senior homes, there's wheelchairs, medical carts, beeping sounds, machinery. We can go to children's homes, basketballs, personally terrifying. Screaming kids, also not my thing. So like we're making sure that your dog has a better time than, let's say, I do if I'm in the middle of a basketball court and people are dribbling. And then, so again, unfamiliar equipment, loud noises. So this is just a very simple test where we'll like drop either a metal pan or like a chair just to see how your dog reacts. If they're initially scared, that's okay as long as they can recover in an appropriate amount of time. We just want to make sure that they don't get too overly reactive or start growling or get to that point. And then lastly, any sudden movement. So like I said, we do go to children's home. A lot of the times kids could be out like on little bikes, they have toys, they just start running around the dogs. We do let the kids know to be, settle down if it is something to the point where any dog would be uncomfortable. But it does need to be something that your dog is generally comfortable with or can communicate with you that they need to go to a quieter area. So those are generally our 3 different areas that we look for. We're currently on like a big recruitment push. So if you would like to, let's say you've already gone through the orientation, I don't know who I'm talking to over Zoom, and you were thinking about Love on Loan, my office is always open. You can shoot me an email, give me a call. We can talk through what the evaluation looks like. I would be willing to do an unofficial evaluation if that's something that you would like, just so you can learn more and get your dog prepped. But this is generally what we're looking for. So let's say that your dog, cat, guinea pig passes with flying colors, is amazing. You'll be asked to basically go through a 3-visit trial period. So that does not have any general timeline. It's just whatever 3 visits you would like to do initially. The idea being that we can see how your dog interacts with all of our other animals, how they do in different settings that we cannot test here at the shelter. And then that way, if anything does come up, we can have the conversation of saying, how can we best support you to get your dog where they need to be, or potentially ask you to be reevaluated at a different time, which is totally okay. It happens. Dogs are dogs, cats are cats, guinea pigs are guinea pigs, right? So we don't necessarily turn anybody away. We're willing to work with you, but it is just being able to have that conversation. So then our last thing is just once you're in the program, so this would be the next slide, you would join our team and just sign up for visits as they arise and as it fits into your schedule. So this is actually the cool part of this program is that as a volunteer, there isn't really a minimum amount of hours that you need to be volunteering. It is super flexible to your schedule. So if you can only make one visit a month or one visit every 2 months, it's totally okay. It's fine with us. So it is something that we try and work with your schedule. So if you're thinking you might be too busy to do this, but you know that you could spare an hour to just take your dog out and help them just experience love from other people, as well as spread that love to other people, this is a great program for you to join. So if you have any other questions, my information is on this slide. I would recommend email over phone calls. We're currently switching our phone system, so the voicemails have been a little iffy recently. But yeah, so just shoot me an email. I will get back to you. We can get your pet scheduled, or again, if you just want to do a practice run or learn more about what our evaluations look like, we can also schedule that as well. And then there's also just a summary slide of all of the information and points of contact after this guy. There we go. So in summary, these are the programs that I went through today, who you need to contact in order to get connected. And then that last part is obviously how to join our Love on Loan program. So if anybody has any questions, I am more than happy to answer them. We also have a room full of our very, very smart and wonderful volunteers who could also answer some questions in case I missed anything. So.
Thank you, thank you. So I was actually hoping if we could get the volunteers up here so everybody online could see everybody. And then if you're comfortable having you introduce yourself and the animals.
Dude, this is your time to shine.
Yeah, because this program's all about you guys and what you're doing. So I know we have several people online who definitely want to see the doggies and they can't see them from where you guys were sitting. So, all right. So I'll just pass the microphone across.
Again, I'm Nancy and this is Lexi.
Hi, everybody. I'm Maureen and this is Lucy and she's a golden retriever.
I'm Brian Campbell and this is Slate. And Slate is fairly new to the program, but he's eager to please.
Again, I'm Jackie, and this is Abby, celebrating her 12th year as a Love on Loan volunteer.
Good job, Abby.
Hi, my name is Nerio, and this is Angel, and she's been on the program for about 5 years, and she's the third dog I've had in the program. The other two have passed away, but they've been wonderful.
Yeah, we love Angel. Nerio's always the guy with the treats. So if we ever end up visiting one of your organizations and you're wondering why all the dogs love Nerio so much, he always has treats in his pockets. If you're a dog, he's a good person to know. So I don't know if there's a Q&A portion, but I am more than happy to.
Yeah, we're in the Q&A portion now. I actually have a question. So I know, so this is being broadcast to all of our satellite offices, and we've got offices all over the state, and most counties and cities have their own SPCA. Is this unique to Sacramento, or do other SPCAs have this as well?
So that is a great question. So the way the SPCA works is kind of like a franchise where we all share the same name, but they're independently owned and operated. So I can't actually speak to any other SPCA. So that I know of, and I don't want to misquote anybody if they do have a program. I think we're the only SPCA in the area that has a pet therapy program, as far as I'm aware. Again, I could also be wrong, but I honestly do not know. Yeah.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any questions from you guys at all? Madison, you're thinking.
No, I was just curious if we could go. Oh, sorry. I was hoping you guys, did you all identify the breeds? You know, we had a couple, we had the golden retriever, but I think the collective fans out there would like to know all the breeds.
No, Lexi, as I heard you talking.
Yeah, Lexi is a mixed breed and they When she was turned into SPCA, the staff there guessed she was a Maltese mix, which she does look like a Maltese. But I was curious, so I got her DNA done, and she's 42% poodle. And then she's Pomeranian, Maltese, and Bichon Frise. So she's a definitely mixed breed.
And as best I know, Lucy came from a rescue group and she came from Taiwan. So I've had her 6 years. I think she's a golden retriever, but she's small.
This is Slate, and Slate is a Norwegian elk hound, and it was the first dog that we ever got from a breeder up in Colfax, that they breed these dogs, and also Shiba Inu's up there. But he's learning to be, but he's a little quirky. Like he knows Nerio has the treats, yeah.
And Abby is a miniature schnauzer.
Angel is a poodle mix. I walked in one day at the shelter and doing some volunteer work, and I saw all these people in front of 2 kennels, and she was one of 7 puppies, and she's the only one that had curly hair. So we know the mother was a miniature poodle, don't know what the father was.
And I'm Natalie, and I currently do not have a dog in this program, but I love all these doggies.
Any other questions? Nothing from the peanut gallery out here. Let me look online. Oh, Madison found one.
No, I didn't find one. I'm just asking more questions. You showed us all the different places that you visit with your dogs. Is there a way for somebody to apply, like if they have a nursing home or something, for a visit from you guys?
Yes, so it's actually really easy and simple. Just shoot me an email, let me know where it is, to what days and times work best for you. I'm actually currently scheduling for visits through the end of the year. I know there's been an uptick in just recurring visits being requested from a lot of different kinds of like nursing homes or children's homes that we're trying to work out. So frankly, the sooner the better, so that I can just really hone in on our schedule this year. But again, just shoot me an email, just give me the general information. We also take, I guess, quote unquote special requests. So if you know that somebody really wants to meet with a cat, I can put that into our requests as well. I know we've been very dog heavy today, and that is because they are the most adaptable to new environments, but we do have cats. And like I said, there's like a mini hamster named Jeff, who's wonderful. At one point, we had a miniature pony who's no longer in the program, and I did not get to meet. But we do accept just like a wide variety of animals. We have bunnies and all of that. It's just like primarily it's our dogs that go out, but if there are special requests for other animals, feel free to shoot them at me. If we can accommodate, we will try our best.
Good question. Any other questions? I'm not seeing, oh, there's something in the chat. What do we got here? So Amber asks, are there training programs or referrals to trainers if you think your puppy would be a good fit for the program but needs a little more training?
Great question, Amber, and thank you for asking. So we actually don't currently have a training program at the shelter. That's kind of one of the misconceptions of Love on Loan, is we get a lot of questions of, can you train my dog for this program? Currently, if you do want any kind of like training recommendations, you can go on our website. Our behavior team regularly updates who they recommend as trainers. I personally don't have that list memorized in my head, so I don't necessarily want to say. But yeah, that is a resource that we do provide. It's just a third party and not in-house.
Thank you. All right. Any other questions from online? I just want to make sure I'm not missing anybody. Nothing else in the chat. Anything from our little group here? Oh, Jessica.
Does anybody have a rewarding experience they'd like to share with taking their dog to facility or?
There's so many.
We can pass it down.
One that was quite fortunate for the SPCA, and a donation that was made of over $1 million from a senior center, from someone who I talked with for months. And then he said, would the SPCA be someplace that would accept my, when I pass away? And he says, he was laying in a bed there. He said that's where his mother passed away, and he was planning on dying there, right there. And but probably about a year and a half later, sure enough, he had contacted the SPCA and had donated just a little over $1 million. And he was just a city worker here in Sacramento. So, Mr. Ziegler.
You know, I think one of the other things we all encounter is when we visit a resident who's not usually verbal and they react so positively to the dogs. And that says it all. I mean, it makes our day.
Well, we haven't been doing this that long, but she loves going to the children's home where the children are staying there until they can get a more permanent place, I guess. And these kids that love dogs, they just really enjoy the attention of a dog and being able to pet them and cuddle with them and, you know, maybe throw the ball for them. So I love watching the kids' faces when they get to meet the dogs.
Yeah, I think for me, listening to the residents recall the stories of time with their own pets, whom either have passed or they're not able to see anymore because of being in a facility. In some cases, a family member has them and can bring them, but you know, it just, it's very touching and it gives them a chance to share that story.
All I can tell you is if you have the time and you have a good pet, it's an extremely rewarding experience. It really is. It's both sad sometimes, but it's also heartbreaking and it's just so much joy. Again, the nonverbal. There was a lady who was 103 years old, and I asked her if I could put my other dogs on. They were smaller than her. If I could put them on the lap, and she didn't say a thing. But when I put her on the lap, she just folded her hands in front of her and just gave me this big smile. So it's a moment, but it's a rewarding moment.
I think for a lot of the people we visit, our visit tends to be the highlight of their day or their week or their month. Just because, you know, animals are so special, and that is really what we are promoting with the program, is that wonderful relationship between like your furry friend and, you know, yourself. And so just being able to go out into the community and show people that, you know, this is an amazing program. These are amazing animals who love people as much as they love Nereos treats. So it's just, I have been, you know, almost 2 years now kind of running the program and trying to get things going. And with every visit that I do and just hearing even people's life stories, because they do open up to you when you're there. And so it's like creating connection, not only for that person and your pet, but you and that person, and just learning from everybody that you meet. It's truly a wonderful experience.
Well, I can certainly say it's been the highlight of my day and week for sure, seeing all these guys up here. And I know, speaking for at least the people in this room, all of us have some sort of pet. I've got dogs. I know Madison has dogs. Thea and Leticia have or have had cats. And Jess, you have a dog too, right? Yeah. So we're all pet owners out here. And so we're very happy to have you guys here. Are there any other questions at all, either online or from our audience here? It's gonna scream at me. Okay, well, I'm not seeing, oh, Jess, yeah.
How many dogs are in the program?
How many dogs are in the program? That's what she asked.
I think, oh, dogs specifically? Animals. Okay,
Animals.
that's easier to answer. Wait, some people have multiple. I'm gonna go with like maybe 25 to 30 animals. And then we have about 20 volunteers currently. So we are doing a big push to like increase our numbers, just for either pandemic reasons, you know, doggies get older, maybe they're not super comfortable anymore with like going out to places. We have lost a few volunteers, but we are trying to get kind of a new class to join our wonderful current team of volunteers, to continue providing this experience for everybody in our community.
I guess I have another question. It kind of ties into the question I asked about, do other SPCAs have the similar programs? I live in Solano County. But if somebody from outside of the county was interested in joining your program, if their SPCA doesn't have it, could they work with you to set something up?
Correct. So there is no limit as to where you live to join our program, but we also don't necessarily go out that far. It just depends on the request. So most of our visit requests are in the Sacramento area. Occasionally we'll get requests that are like out in Folsom. I recently actually just opened my email and saw one from Lodi, which I don't know if it's something we're going to be able to accommodate, but I'll probably just still put the ask out there. So you may have to do a further drive in order to participate, but it is something that we are definitely open to.
So I have a little one. These guys have all met him who might be good for this program. Copper. Yeah. We just adopted him in December. I think he'd be good for the program. So cool. Any other questions? Everybody keeps coming up with questions. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, is there one in the chat? Okay. Marina, what did you ask? Sorry if this was already answered as I came in late, but is there a schedule to follow when you go on these visits?
Meaning, like, do we post our visit schedules anywhere? Is how I'm interpreting this. There is no
think so.
one place. Oh, okay. I will answer this in 3 different ways. One, if you are trying to be a groupie and follow our group and go to every single one of our visits, unfortunately, you cannot do that. A lot of the communities that we work with are sensitive populations, so we try not to share that information out with the public for safety reasons. 2, generally our visits are once a month if they are recurring. Otherwise, we do a lot of, like, for example, we just went to McGeorge Law School yesterday for like a stress-free midterm event. So there's a lot of recurring visits that way. And we also do one-off visits. And then I guess lastly, most of our visits are about an hour long because we don't want the dogs to tire out. That being said, if we do get invited to events that are longer than an hour, I'll usually try and just schedule out in chunks so that no one dog is there the entirety of like the 3 hours or something. Hopefully that covered all of the bases and then we answered the question that was asked.
Cool. All right. Uh-oh.
What's going on?
Uh-oh.
Who was that?
And one of you guys didn't, I'm sure you guys online didn't hear it. One of the dogs either coughed or belched. I wasn't sure which. And Marina says, yes, that answers the question.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah. Cool.
I will say, I think my last plug here will be, let's say you heard all of this and you currently do not have a pup that fills this description in your life, but you do want one. I have recently worked with our behavior team to go ahead and kind of do a similar behavior assessment to any dogs that come into the shelter that might be a good fit for our program. This is super, super new, but I think within the coming weeks, when you walk through our kennels, you'll see a little logo on their kennel card that will indicate that they would be a great fit as a therapy animal. So if you're looking to adopt a dog, you want them to be a therapy animal, we've connected the dots. We can get you guys connected. The only caveat being that you do have to keep that dog for at least 3 months before you can officially join the program, because there's a lot that we can't test at the shelter when they're first admitted, and that way you get to know their personality a little more, kind of if there's any kinks, you get to know them better. But that is one way that we are trying to connect people to our program as well as dogs coming through our shelter.
Awesome. Great plug.
Yeah.
I love it. All right, everybody, we're almost at 1 o'clock. I'm not seeing any more questions in the chat. Thank you guys for being here. This was the end of our program for Guide Dog Awareness Month. Thank you, everybody, for being at all of our events, either in person or virtual. Thank you to our guests, the SPCA and the volunteers for the Love on Loan program being here. Do we have a comment? We got a comment. Oh, Amber says, thanks, Natalie. Love seeing your pups on a good day. So
Yeah.
makes the day a little bit better. And then again, for the folks that jumped on late, I want to thank everybody for donating what they could to our donation drive for the SPCA. We've got well over $300 worth of stuff here to send Natalie on her way. Don't know if you brought it,
Very useful.
but yeah, there's a lot there. And so thank you, everybody, for pulling together to donate this stuff. We all really appreciate it. So thank you, everybody. Have a good rest of your day.
Yeah, she's like, I